So I do think that this is a really charming cover. It's fun, it's cute, the castle is very characterful, but I don't know, it kind of makes me miss the one that I read from the school library, and I know that's purely nostalgia talking. So I went looking, and none of them really jumped out at me, which is probably just a case of bad memory. This is the closest one. I had a little bit of recognition about it, but I'm not sure it was this one. There's still most of the book to go, but more than any other author I've read, I'm kind of getting a little bit of a Diana Wynne Jones vibe. And, like, I wouldn't do a, like, if you like Diana Wynne Jones, read an Eva Ibbotson book kind of thing, but it's nice. It's nice. I also really love. I've been enjoying a lot of like middle grade, more this year. Agent Zyba and Skandar, and it's really nice to have a book that just has fun with names again. Was it Hiram Hopgood and the Macbuffs? And it's really nice to just have that again. Hey, so it has been a while since I last updated you on this. In my defense, it is Nano, so I have been busy. Um, we have gotten to the introductions of the ghosts, and I am a little bit uncomfortable. Mm, Perhaps not the right word. That's a little bit stronger than. I don't really. I think there's a fine line to tread when you're doing like fun Vikings for kids. And I think it would have been fine, except, he was like, I like the raiding, but I don't like the kidnapping of the women because you get them home and all they do is gossip and have babies. And it's like, yeah, yeah. And also, the drowned woman was also a little bit like, yeah, no, I don't, not really, I don't like this. I didn't remember this. And sorry, speaking of uncomfortable, we just got like I thought we got a pay and pig joke in the chat. Um, I kind of expected the way that I remembered Hiram C. Hopgood to remember the ghosts once they were introduced, and that's not really been the case. And they all seem a little bit flat, which is really sad. I love the dog though. Absolutely no complaints about the dog. Um, yeah, it's not quite as fun, I guess, as I was expecting it to be. As I really remembered enjoying it. And to be fair, I could be mixing this up with other Eva Ibbotson books because the class libraries had a lot of them over quite a few years. Um, and I definitely picked up a handful. And I'm also kind of realising that my comment about Diana Wynne Jones has probably got less to do with the authors and the books in question and more to do with the era of children's fantasy that it is. But today we were actually going to the library because I was supposed to pick up another Childhood Revisited vlog book, but my account might have been deleted. So I've got to see to that. Good afternoon. It has been a while, I know. I finished filming the Fake Wife vlog, which was supposed to go up in December. It's up now. But we are also filming a very special video that I'm really excited about. It's going to take months to film, and also the new Moonathon. So we're going to cram it in, but it's still going to be pretty slow. Well, so I may have not the best time management skills, and I may have forgotten as well for several months, but we are back. I'm gonna have to restart it from the very beginning. I'm so sorry, but we're back, and there is no excuse. I'm so sorry. Every so often a character comes along and I just kind of imprint on them. And Helen is too thin and her eyes have dark circles and her hair is too heavy for her head. She's sick, and yeah, we found another one. I don't really want to call this whole transporting the castle thing bonkers, because I know that it has been done, I think, with a bridge. But yeah, I love that the book is having so much fun with it. So it was nice to see the Kraken, because I was very confused as to where that fit into this. Whatever this part of the plot is, kidnapping or whatever it is, turns out one of them is a man in drag, and I do believe this was published in the 80s, and I don't know, given the climate then, and especially given the climate now, how this is going to pan out. I am a little bit worried. I wish I could tell you about the disembodied hand or the antics of the ghosts. I do really like the cinema touch of, them seeing a horror movie and thinking, this is home. But I kind of got stuck on the fact that the villain named herself Adolpha after her idol and crush, Adolf Hitler. And I know that this was like an 80s book, and cartoon Nazi villains was like an 80s thing. I just think, for me personally, with the state of the world, this is like not fun. And every time we get to a fun thing, I'm like, we're gonna, how long before the fucking come back, Also, I know that people are gonna be like, but at least they're the bad guys. And to that, I'd say there's a quote about Oscar and his loving family and good upbringing, and it's, the bad streak in Oscar came from inside him. And I don't know, I feel like presenting goodness and badness as intrinsic and innate and immutable is not quite in line with that. So the question is, why does this matter? Why do I give a shit about Adolpha? Why is this ruining the experience for me? And I think the answer is that I do not want to be a kid again. But I do sometimes envy that ignorance is bliss. mindset. Like, I don't want to be a kid, but if I could have, I don't know, a half hour where I could just press a button and be head empty, no thoughts, and just read a book, or have a cup of tea, or just watch Critical Role, even, in that time, I think I would be all the better for it. And I think it's just making me really sad. There's also a quote in, I think, chapter 13, and I did write it down, but I don't have it with me because, of course, not. Something like, most young people, when they really put their minds to it, get better. And I think that on its own would grate, but I get it. And I could be just like, I don't like that, let's move on. But it was also the whole anti-pills. I don't want to say rhetoric, that's not the right word. And it's just, I don't know, I have thought about like antidepressants before, and it might not be normal to take pills every day, but I don't know. If your options between take a pill every day and not have any more days, I think that's a pretty easy decision. And you just see it so often in anti-disabled and sanist discussions, and it's just tiring. Like, I've been thinking whether I should keep going with this or not, and honestly the answer is I don't know. I want to finish it because I am a completionist. Yeah, I kind of was as a kid, and then I grew out of it, and then I am back. And the point of this was to look back on things and see how they and I have changed, and it's not a pleasant experience this time, but it's doing it. It is the experience. So I know that my problems with this book have been deeply personal, in the vein of like, if you think this is one of those things where it takes power out of fascists, then Adolpha is probably a lot less bothersome to you than it would be to me. And I did think, maybe am I being a bit mean about this whole pill thing and Helen and her illness? And then Uncle Louse got out of his wheelchair, not because, this is the first time in like hundreds of years that he's drunk blood, but because he matters now. And yeah, the power of feel good fixing this dude's legs just kind of did it for me. That being said, the whole reason that I did this Childhood Revisited series started with Eleanor's, was it Prophecy trilogy, which I really enjoyed when I first read it. And then a few years after that, I reread it and reviewed it on my blog, and it was like, these are terrible actually. Like, they're not competent at all, especially that third book. Like, what the fuck happened there? And then I went and reread my favourite, possibly still most reread book, which is the Snow Walker trilogy omnibus, and I am supposed to vlog that for this, but we'll see if that ever happens. Yeah, it was also not good, and that really disappointed me, but it's that curiosity that spurred me to do this and reread and reevaluate the books that I loved as a kid. So I went into this series like fully ready to be disappointed, not quite fully ready for the, it's not existential crisis, but you know, the whole thing with this. But it wasn't out of the realm of possibility. So while I didn't enjoy the experience per se, I didn't not. Like Hill's Moving Castle, this is also a product of the 1980s, latter half of the 1980s, I think. And there is, like, they're not the same. If you like one, I can't say you like the other, but there is, like, a wavelength between them. And if it had just stayed fun for me, it would have been like 5 stars. Obviously, that was not the case. But I think there is something to this era of books that is really charming at times. Like, I didn't really mention the weird comments it made about Native Americans, and it did frequently and repeatedly call them weird, or the Valhalla, which was so fatphobic. Because, like, at this point, what does it matter on top of everything else? Yeah, I don't regret reading this. And the experience was a good one, like I said, if not an enjoyable one. I am going to try Which Witch, though, I think. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know. That's the one that everyone seems to talk about. It still, people still seem fond of it. I'm not sure I'll revisit the Star of Kazan, because even at the time I wasn't really much of a historical reader, and I didn't hate it. I think I actually liked it, but the appeal is not there, and it wasn't like one of those books that stood out to me as a kid, so I don't really see the point of like revisiting it now. It's not like, oh, will it still matter to me, because it didn't really. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye.